What's up, everybody? I recently got the Jazwares Vader Helmet. Long story short, it's pretty awesome. Bottom line up front, they portray it as modeled after New Hope, but it's not based off of New Hope. It definitely screams Empire Strikes Back. Aside from the fact that it's a really quality helmet. So this is the A New Hope EFX helmet. This is the Jazwares one. So this is our A New Hope, and look at that little baby chin. Because come back for Empire Strikes Back, the actor needed to see his marks on set, so he asked for a bigger vents on the bottom. So that and the paint all lines up with Empire Strikes Back. So let me just kind of hit on the key points, top to bottom. 2004 Hasbro Voice Changing Vader. Pretty cool helmet. A little small. 2018 Black Series. 2022 Black Series. If you notice these, look at the bottom. That's Empire Strikes Back based. This old one, Empire Strikes Back based. This also tells you with the blue button. This one, A New Hope based. Look at the chin. Also the amber lenses. Rubies Supreme Garbage Helmet. That's the official name. Little known fact. Empire Strikes Back, and look at the bottom. Don't buy this helmet. Jesus, do not buy that helmet. Especially, you can get this one cheaper, and it's so much better. Top to bottom. I'm gonna start with the dome. On the top of the dome, you've got your little kind of maker's mark of sorts from the mold, and it actually, even there's a bigger ring around it. You may or may not be able to see it. It really doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. If you're looking for the costume requirements list for 501st, you'll probably have to fix a little bit of stuff up. Type in 501 CRL or Darth Vader CRL, but you can go on there and you can go through the costume requirements as far as expectations. Some of you probably already know this, others, you might be new to this, but so this mask does have a very symmetrical look, and if it is in fact symmetrical, then it's unsuitable for actual 501st use, but regardless, it's a good looking helmet. I put these bad boys side by side. A lot of it is very, very similar. You can see that the shine definitely screams Empire Strikes Back. Look how tight and refined this ridge is on EFX. This, not even remotely like that, so not even remotely A New Hope-y. And that's the official way to say that, A New Hope. Then if you compare to the Rubies Supreme, theirs is also more rounded or a smoother transition like the Jazwares. On the CRL, it mentions a thumb divot right around here where it's not a clear one there, but it has the potential where you could easily put one there, but there's not on the Supreme. What's really cool about this, if you actually fight in your cosplay stuff, and you're a Vader, get this thing, man. So it's got a twist lock on it, so this thing is not coming off. If you've ever worn a Black Series or EFX, if you do this, that helmet's going on the floor. I went out for Halloween with my daughter. In one of these Black Series, it went to step down a step, and as soon as I went down like this, it caught the side of my shoulder armor and tumbled down the stairs. It was all scratched up. So let me just show you. It's nice and tight. And, you know, I think somebody commented, like, you know, maybe it'll break down in the future. It does, whatever. It's still better than the magnets or the garbage Velcro issue on Rubies Supreme. Anyway, so this is, maybe they'll make that as a replaceable part. So this is just a good view of how the twist lock works in there. What you might notice in there, it actually has a serial number. I thought maybe there was a serial number on this thing somewhere. Who knows? I got so much junk padding in here. Yeah, whatever, who cares? They specified that the EFX was supposed to come with like this certificate of authenticity or something like that. Mine did not come with one. Where is my certificate of authenticity? One of the biggest things you'll notice, so this is the EFX one, their dome is freaking superior. It's got the edging on there, so it gives you this perception of it being super thick. Very, very stable. That is not what you get with Jazwares one. Price point, whatever, who cares? And if you want to stabilize it, you can. Both those domes are very similar in size, and they have kind of the same rockability. Took that off for a reason. If you get confused, just look at the chins. Big chin, Empire Strikes Back. Baby chin, A New Hope. So look at that, the head, and it's like kind of a lot cooler head. It looks like a proper head. This one kind of looks like it might have microcephaly or something like that. It's worn down on the side, and it's not as like rounded. With A New Hope, you've got the helmet that goes down over the eyes. So you've got the brows kind of hidden, look like dark helmet. And then with Empire Strikes Back, it's more like this. It kind of gives you a slightly more surprised look. The brows. So here I mentioned about how these are kind of more mysterious brows. This is the A New Hope, and your brows are kind of hidden, so it's a little kind of darker. You've got the point here, which is kind of a little cooler looking, and then it also covers the brows, where this one is kind of like, I was comparing it to a surprise look because you could see the brows. And then you've also got your rounded tip here, and then of course your rounded here, and you've got partial exposure on the Supreme. Mine's jacked up. I had to completely modify it to even get it remotely to sit on there even halfway correct.
If you've got a Supreme, I'd like to know. Drop a comment. Let me know if yours was a little funky too.
Anyway, so keep it on going down. If you look at the brows are pretty close to each other, but these are actually kind of pinched and pointy, where the A New Hope version actually is flattened. And for those of you who don't know, the EFX is actually produced from one of the molds used on A New Hope. One of the things I'll notice on this, and like these lines are very close to the same size as the A New Hope. These are good, where if you look at the garbage Supreme over there, it's like somebody just made them up. If you do 501st stuff, they'll tell you to like fill those in and recut them and fix it. And then of course lenses, if you're looking at A New Hope, you've got your amber lenses, and on this, you've got more gray lenses. So look at these eyes. They're nice and smooth. So this is our Jazwares. Very smooth. I like these eyes until I put it on, then not so much. But, I mean, these are some beat up, broken eyes, but you can see how they have a bubble, and even if you go to OPLE, they sell this. I guess this is the actually original style. OPLE sells glass version. Personally, I want something like this. Although on that note, you put this bad boy on, these are kind of hazy. One of the things I noticed, it's like a white, it's like there's a stress fracture or something in this lens. Not a huge deal or anything like that. It's just like, it was the first thing I noticed. And you can kind of see these little divots. Again, I think when you put it on and you look through this, you actually see it's like there's mild distortion and waviness and fuzziness, which is why I find these lenses unacceptable. I'd replace them if you're gonna do any kind of serious wearing of this thing. Now that you can kind of see through when there's backlit, you can see the edging around those. If you're picky, go ahead and fix it. You can see straight through those eyes, that edging, which you certainly do not see here. And then Supreme is terrible. They put the lenses on the outside. On the edges, they're sharp. They're not technically sharp. And here, they're softened, and then they're slightly more rounded. You look at these little divots under the eyes. So this is the Jazwares one, and for whatever reason, these divots are almost imperceptible in some sense. You might think that it's just an error in the mold if you didn't know that they were very specifically etched in the original version. So this is A New Hope. You know, I guess in the theory or the lore, whatever, proper combat worn uniform. So it's kind of a matte finish. What's great about the matte is that it really helps you see the gunmetal a lot better. Either that or they just change the chemistry on the gunmetal in Empire Strikes Back and later. But whatever, the matte kind of helps you see that it's gray and black, where it's a little less perceptible on Empire Strikes Back, which is kind of one of the more popular movies, which may be why so many things just reportray all black, all black. Even that, I've got that little like Darth Vader like this tall, it's also all black. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so if you're not familiar, the black paint job ends here, and then it's gunmetal, and then over here, it's black. And it's not only is there the stripe going back, but it actually, on the A New Hope, they didn't paint the cheek black. On this one, they did. The side cheek, I mean, which is why I guess they chose, like, oh, I guess I gotta keep the painting on back. And why they ended up turning it into a stripe, which it would have been hidden by the dome, but whatever. That does not exist on the A New Hope version. And then so you can see, it's not until you look at the sides that you're really like, holy crap, that's gunmetal and black. Veins that go forth to the tusks. They stay in the gunmetal gray, but not on this bad boy. Those are in black. It's very clear distinction of the paint ends here. On this one, it's like there was no edge put down to stop the paint. It was just like an airbrush, and it's just like in a gradual fade. So the noses, Very similar. I wouldn't say that there's too much different about them, if much at all. You gotta finish that painting. You don't draw in there with ink pen.
I'm trying to
No!
No, Daddy, I'm trying to draw a mountain.
You're 4.5 years old. You should be ready for university. I'm not raising a weakling.
I'm actually driving.
You're driving? I've seen you drive. You crash a lot.
I crashed a car into another car.
For the mouth and chin grill dividers.
I mean, you can tell right here that these are different sized than these are here. So this is the Supreme Garbage Vader from Rubies. I'm probably too hard on it, but whatever. If you're looking at 501st type stuff, I think one of the things that they have you do is file that down so they're not rounded at the bottom, so they're more square. You know, small potatoes, so this one you wouldn't have to do that. You'd have to consult any of those folks as far as what more this thing might need. So, A New Hope, baby chin. They use the mesh, the price steel. Why did I just show you rather than describe it? And I think that's really what this is supposed to be. But you see, they did a double layer. That poses a problem when you actually put this thing on. That double layer keeps all the humidity inside. Within the first minute, my lenses were fogging up. The air isn't getting out. And even on the bottom, it's completely closed in. So they didn't use the right materials. So that may be something that you want to do. There's various companies out there, and I'm just going to say OPLE. It's a German Etsy site, and they seem to have some pretty quality stuff. They actually have replacement mesh for the mouth. They have this kind of mesh, and then they back it with basically your window screen, metal mesh screen, the real tight, that's black. So you can actually breathe through that rather than this double layer plastic stuff. What I did was I went inside, I opened it up, I pulled these out because it looks like it's sandwiched in there. Then I think what they did was they pushed it together and they fused it. So I don't think there's any modifying this without trashing it. So if you actually want to wear this thing, get rid of this mesh. Otherwise, you got to have one heck of a ventilation system, blowing whirlwinds of tornadoes up in there. Tusks. That is one thing that they kind of left out on this. So if you look at EFX, you see the end of the tusk it's only a pinch larger than the barrel before it. And these are like machined aluminum tusks. So this is the Jazwares, and these are, look at that. It's like a mushroom cap. It's very reminiscent of the Black Series and even the Hasbro 2004. If you don't know these, you can pick these up for like 40 bucks on Mercari or eBay or whatever. It has a pretty cool voice changer built in there. I digress. I'm too easily distracted. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of that. But if you have a Supreme garbage helmet, treat it like a junkyard and piece it out. I talk smack about it. I mean, it's a decent-ish helmet, but it needs help. I'm gonna bring it over here. It's actually a pretty heavy duty. I don't know which version I got. I bought mine used on eBay. The person said, "I've worn it once." Liar. Half the costume was missing and this thing was abused. But whatever, it even has a broken eye. But whatever, I don't care about that. I got it for the rest of the uniform. Okay, so these are the tusks on that, so I'll just show you that. But you can see it's a lot thicker. It's a lot heavier duty, you know, in this mouth area than maybe even the EFX. This one's a lot sharper too on the edges. So, you know, there's some nice bits to this. It's just, I am not a fan of the dome. This thing does, well, it's not a review of this helmet. Tusks was the other thing I wanted to hit on. These are actually rubber and not plastic. So look at that. I mean, that is super bendy. So I imagine one benefit that you probably have, unlike with this guy, you know, you slightly brush it against something and that scrapes off. Probably going to be able to hold up a little better for that. Here's what I was talking about as far as sealing the tusks out of the Supreme and putting them in here.
For the Tusk Veins.
It's concave here on the EFX and straight. And then on here, it's almost straight on the top and convex on the bottom.
As far as the necks,
this one looks very much more exaggerated in the curve, though oddly when I put them on the ground, they ended up both seeming almost the same. Maybe it was just the angle I was looking at. But the widths are very, very similar-ish. Anyway, what's cool about this, look at the inside of my EFX. That crappy white padding did not come with it. Even though it totally looks OEM. It's got this, which it looks like it might be stretchy, but it's certainly not stretchy. It needs help for fitting. This is awesome. This works really well. My eyes lined up properly, unlike in that beast when I had to put a bunch of junk on top of my head in order to line up things. My nose actually touches the front in that, which is no issue. in this one, this one's perfect. It almost like it's designed for my big schnoz and my big head. But you can, you know, tighten this. It's odd that you actually have to tighten in reverse. So you got to go counterclockwise in order to tighten it, and clockwise to tighten. Small potatoes, right? My nose goes like perfectly in there. The EFX, I had to put padding all around my nose in order to get it on there. This thing fits wonderfully. It's just breathing in it. Not so much. Really comfortable. Excellent buy. Hey, what the heckle and jekyll? Stink pot. R5D4. Take her away. She's a traitor and rebel scum. Anyway, excellent buy. It only took me 40 minutes to say it. If it helped you out, give a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe. Take care.